It is showtime in the Californian desert and there is plenty at stake for the best players on the ATP Tour. Roger Federer, photo by Chrysaline Caio, copyright at Sport Vision. The 44th edition of the BNP Paribas Open provides an opportunity for the usual protagonists to continue their dominance on the men's tour. With defending champion Juan Martín del Potro sidelined by injury, players will be battling it out for 1,000 ranking points as well as $1,340,860 in prize money for the winner. Here are 5 things to follow in the men's draw this year. Federer's fight to stay in the top 5. The day after winning his 100th title at the Dubai Tennis Championships, Roger Federer flew straight out to the Californian desert for his next challenge. The 37-year-old re-entered the top 5 this week, but faces a tough task in the coming weeks holding that position. 7 out of the top 10 players on the ATP Tour are defending 45 or less points. However, for 2018 runner-up Federer, he is defending 600 points. Meaning an early loss in the tournament will open the door for the likes of Kei Nishikori and Kevin Anderson to overtake him. To prevent this happening, the Swiss player needs to reach at least the quarter-finals this year to have a chance of staying in the top 5. This year is Federer's 18th appearance in the Indian Wells main draw. A 5-time champion, he has won 62 out of 74 matches played, 84% winning rate. The last time he failed to reach the quarterfinal stage was back in 2010. How did the current top 10 fare in Indian Wells last year? 1 Novak Djokovic 31 round 2-2 Rafael Nadal 32 withdrew 3 Alexander Zverev 21 round 2-4 Roger Federer 37 runner-up 5 Juan Martín del Potro 30 champion 6 Kevin Anderson 32 quarterfinals 7 Kei Nishikori 29 withdrew 8 Dominic Thiem 25 round 3, retired, 9 John Isner 33 round 2 10 Stefanos Tsitsipas 20 round 2 Can anybody defeat Djokovic? First practice in paradise tennis grinning face with big eyes call me handed D. Schwartzman. The world number 1 is the only player in history to win every Masters 1000 tournament at least once. Since his resurgence on the tour last summer, Djokovic has won 5 titles, 3 Grand Slams and 2 Masters. During that time Djokovic has looked unbeatable during certain tournaments, but has also suffered defeats. Losing to Karen Khachanov in Paris last year, followed by Alexander Zverev at the ATP Finals. His only defeat so far in 2019 was to Roberto Bautista Agut in Qatar. Despite those losses, Djokovic remains the huge favorite heading into the event. He also has a prime opportunity to strengthen his number 1 ranking with only 10 points to defend from last year. Should the Serbian prevail, he would tie Rafael Nadal's record of 33 for most Masters 1000 titles won in the Open era. Djokovic would also claim a record 6th Indian Wells title. The next-gen challenge embed from Getty Images as the first Greek player in history to break into the ATP top 10 this week. 20-year-old Stefanos Tsitsipas will be hoping for a strong run. Defending only 25 points, the Australian Open semi-finalist made his debut in Indian Wells last year, going out in the second round to Dominic Thiem. Tsitsipas will be seeded 9th in the draw. Alexander Zverev is the only member of the next-gen contingent to win multiple Masters 1000 titles. Furthermore, 2 out of those 3 trophies have occurred in North America. The German recently settled for runner-up at the Mexican Open to Nick Kyrgios. Zverev's record at Indian Wells is far from spectacular after winning just 4 matches between 2016 to 2018. It is only of 2 Masters events where he is yet to reach the quarterfinals. Other next-gen players to look out for include Alex de Minaur, Denis Shapovalov and Francis Tiafoe. 18-year-old Felix Auger-Aliassime, who is the youngest player in the top 100, has received a wild card into the main draw. Next-gen players in the top 100, ranked by age: 58 Felix Auger-Aliassime 1825, Denis Shapovalov 1910, Stefanos Tsitsipas 2024, Alex de Minaur 2066, Hugo Humbert 2094, Casper Ruud 23, Alexander Zverev 2135, Francis Tiafoe 2146, Taylor Fritz 2159, Riley Opelka 2161, John Muir 21. Can Nadal make up for Mexico? Embed from Getty Images. It has been 6 years since Rafael Nadal last triumphed in Indian Wells. Overall, he has won 50 matches in the tournament to date since making his debut back in 2003. Put that into perspective, Indian Wells is his third most successful Masters event in terms of wins after Monte Carlo, 68, and Rome, 56. The 11-time French Open champion is seeking to reach his second final of the tour in 2019. His current win-loss record this season stands at 7-2. He has won at least one ATP title every year since 2004. I know that the season is long. My first priority, more than winning titles or not, is to be happy. To be happy, I need to be healthy. I'm going to do the things that give me a better chance to be healthy more than anything. That's the priority. If I am healthy, I am competitive, I am happy, I have the chance to win tournaments, Nadal told reporters following the Australian Open final. So far in his career, Nadal has achieved 9 wins over top 10 players in Indian Wells. Will Nick Kyrgios exceed or implode? Embed from Getty Images. After a stellar performance last week, some are regarding the unpredictable Nick Kyrgios as a threat to the draw. The Australian defeated 3 top 10 players en route to winning Acapulco, his first ATP title since January 2018. It's hopefully an example for people who are struggling and getting in some places you don't think you can get out of. If I can do it, you can do it, Kyrgios said following his triumph. I was really down and out and didn't know what I was going to do, but you have a week like this and things can change. Consistency has been an Achilles heel for the 23-year-old in recent months. Besides being hampered by numerous injury issues, Kyrgios has been criticized throughout his career for his controversial attitude on the court. The most recent being from Nadal, who said he lacks respect, something that was heavily disputed by Kyrgios himself. I need to be way more disciplined, way better professionally and do the right things, Kyrgios admits. A player that likes the big stages of the sport, it remains to see how Kyrgios will fare. It was at the 2017 edition of Indian Wells, where he stunned both Zverev and Djokovic en route to the quarterfinals. Kyrgios missed last year's tournament due to injury. Roger Federer's legacy lives on in Stefanos Tsitsipas, but will it come back to haunt him later on in his career? Stefanos Tsitsipas at ATP_Tour, Twitter. Stefanos Tsitsipas has clearly been inspired by Roger Federer's legacy, but is that a bad thing for the Greek superstar? The 20-year-old from Athens continues to make waves on the ATP Tour as he has already won 2 career titles and reached a Grand Slam semifinal. This rise has been so rapid that he's even beat his idol Roger Federer at a Grand Slam and believes he can compete with the best players. It's obvious that having Federer as your idol is something to have as a base for your game, as Stefanos explained in his press conference yesterday. It's an honor to play against Roger. As I have said on numerous occasions, I have idolized him since I was 6 years old and I saw him on television. I guess in this I agree with the majority of guys. However, yesterday's Dubai final defeat shows there are weaknesses within Tsitsipas, and the legacy that has inspired him could be a bad thing. Comparing yourself to one of the greatest players of all time isn't necessarily great, considering you're expected to show a clinical edge no matter who you play. Yesterday we were unable to see that from Tsitsipas after his 69-minute loss saw Federer lift up his 100th career title. Of course the tiredness from winning Marseille could have played its part, but if the Greek wants to win a Masters 1000 title he needs to show more commitment on the big points. An ability to control a match is something that he lacks and his nearest rivals have gained over time, especially players like Alexander Zverev, Dominic Thiem and Daniil Medvedev. If Masters 1000s want to be in Tsitsipas' future, he will have to control matches and occasions much better, especially being consistent with beating the top guys. There is a reason why Alexander Zverev is being seen as a future world number one and Tsitsipas isn't. At 21 years old, the German's ability to control a match and an occasion consistently is something to admire. A big serve and heavy ground strokes has seen Zverev win multiple Masters 1000s and reach a career high of number 3 in the world. Now Tsitsipas must replicate this and prove that he is certain for quarterfinals each tournament, and that starts with Indian Wells next week. Although it has inspired him to begin with, over time Federer's legacy could be a bad thing for Tsitsipas as he looks to overcome the pressures of being compared to one of the greatest. In a video released on Sunday, the uncle of Rafael Nadal has said the new system discourages players. The former full-time coach of Rafael Nadal has become the latest tennis figure to speak out against the controversial transition tour. Tony Nadal, who is the head of his nephew's academy in Mallorca, has pledged his support behind players calling for a change to the new system. At the start of 2019, 1,500 people lost their professional ranking into the sport following the creation of the transition tour by the International Tennis Federation (ITF). Following an extensive research process, which the ITF says involved a survey of 55,000 individuals involved in tennis, the changes took place. Players now have to compete on the transition tour to earn ITF points. The idea being that once they generate enough points, they can progress to the ATP or WTA tour. Despite the aim of trying to ensure players participating in lower-level events have a better standard of living, many have said they have been left worse off and have been struggling to enter ITF tournaments. Canadian left-hander Maria Patrescu launched a Change.org petition to change the new format, attracting more than 14,000 signatures to date. What should be the objective of the International Tennis Federation? In my opinion, it should be to promote our sport and make it available to all of our players. The new rules adopted discourages players, Tony said in a Facebook video. Commenting further on the situation, the 58-year-old believes an uneven playing ground has now formed on the court, saying that only young rich people are able to play under the new system. Who can play under these new rules? Only the young rich people. Is that correct? I don't think so. What happens to the people with not a lot of money? What happens to the people who decide to study and want to go professional in the future? They can't. In my opinion, you have to change these rules, he said. Tony Nadal is the latest public figure who disagrees with the transition tour. pic.twitter.com/y6v6by91e, Luis, @Lou_tennis, March 3, 2019. Uncle Tony is the latest in a rapidly growing list of people hitting out at the ITF. Magnus Norman, who is the coach of Stan Wawrinka, has said that he had spoken to many players and coaches who were not happy about the tour. For me, I find it very hard to work around the fact that we are cutting jobs in tennis, Norman wrote on his personal blog. If I were to work towards something, I would turn things around. I would look at it from the other angle and try to make it better for each and every player instead. Globally, I agree 100% with Tony and Norman Sweden. The ITF has to rethink these rules. We have to support the players ranked between 100 and 1000 ATP and make things possible for them rather than discourage them. https://t.co/s1joe4redia. Patrick Mouratoglou, @pmouratoglou, March 3, 2019. Former top 10 player Janko Tipsarevic is currently ranked 455th in the world and has his own tennis academy as another critic. These changes that are being done by the ITF are doing nothing else but ruining and destroying the sport. I'm seeing so much pain and suffering, the Serbian commented on Facebook. Despite the widespread condemnation, the governing body has refused to scrap the transition tour, arguing that the negativity surrounding it has partly been created by misinformation. Although they have confirmed that they are open to making adjustments. For all the reasons we've set out explaining why we looked to do reforms in the first place, it would be not at all optimal to go back, ITF Executive Director for Circuits Jackie Nesbitt recently told reporters. I don't want to get to a situation where we have huge amounts of prize money but we're delivering so poorly for players. To have so few even managing to break even, we have to be able to do better than that. I don't see any convincing argument in favor of a return to the old system. The new system has to deliver better for players. If there are changes that need to be made, they will become fairly obvious fairly quickly. Life on the transition tour in. Quotes, the number of places for players to participate in these tournaments is limited, so players with no ranking or bad ranking have no chance to participate in the tournaments. I've heard from a lot of players flying around the world, going to tournaments and couldn't get in reason of the limited qualification size. Dirk Hordorf, VP of Tennis Germany. I would really like to meet a person who came up with this idea about the ITF Transition Tour and congratulate him. All the ideas that person got cannot function even in a perfect world because players have zero benefit from it and they don't make any sense. Anna VRLJIC, Croatia. Money talks and money rules. They don't need any players outside of top 100. They need the big names and the big profit from slams. By changing the rule, they secured easier stability for the top and a possibility for young, mid and lower ranked players to exist. If you don't have the big agency behind you or a big sponsor, you might as well quit. Cecil Karatancheva, Belarus. It's a shambles. Everyone is responsible for this mess. It's impossible to state how much knock-in effect this will have negatively for anyone involved in tennis. Mark Petchey, former player, Great Britain. We all agree that ITF is not fulfilling their mandate of overseeing and promoting tennis worldwide. Sergei Stakovsky, Ukraine. My ranking won't even guarantee me a place in the qualifiers. Last year, I won a $25,000 United States dollars tournament and I was hoping I would at least start playing the qualifier rounds of the challengers this season, but for that I will have to improve my ITF ranking. But for that I need to play 25k events. Atal Kalyanpur, India. The latest milestone serves as a reminder as to why the Swiss maestro is an icon in the tennis world. Roger Federer, image obtained from sister site uvatennis.com. 18 years ago things were very different on the tour for a teenage Roger Federer and his temperamental temper. At the age of 19, he took on France's Julien Bauder in the final of the 2001 Milan Indoors Open. Yet to claim a trophy at the professional level, Federer battled to a 3-sets triumph to win the title. At the time, fans sensed the Swiss player was a star in the making, but they had no idea about how many records he would go on to break. Not even Federer himself. My next goal is to break into the top 15, which is a high aim but not an impossible one, Federer told reporters on February 4, 2001. 18 years on from that statement, the 37-year-old has established himself as one of the greatest of all time. His current resume features 20 Grand Slam titles and 310 weeks as world number 1. Furthermore, he has won 4 tournaments, including Wimbledon, on 8 or more occasions. Federer's latest milestone occurred on Saturday at the Dubai Tennis Championships, a tournament that is one of his most successful in terms of trophies won. Facing Greek rising star Stefanos Tsitsipas, he prevailed 6-4, 6-4, to avenge his loss to him at the Australian Open earlier this year. A triumph that has rewarded Federer his 100th title on the tour. I think this one has a deep satisfaction, an immediate one, because I know what it means, Federer said during his press conference. I like these types of numbers or records, to be quite honest. I didn't come here, to Dubai, expecting I was going to win, to be quite honest. I hadn't played since Australia. I'm just happy on all fronts how my game progressed, how well I played in the finals, on top of it winning the 8, winning the 100th. So many magical things going on. I'm very, very happy right now. He added, the milestone is a rare one in tennis. In fact, only Jimmy Connors had previously claimed 100 or more titles on the ATP Tour. Connors won 109 singles titles over a 17-year period, 1972 to 1989. On the women's tour, Steffi Graf, Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova have broken the 100 mark. I know a lot of people always ask me about, are you going to go for 109? Winning titles, to answer the question, is not easy, said Federer. Winning 5 matches in 6 days or 5 matches in 5 days, it takes a different type of fitness. That's why you have to be fit on many fronts, mentally, physically, also your game has to translate. You have to be able to beat different types of players, not just the grinders, not just the big servers, not just the attacking players. You have to be able to beat them all in successive days. Welcome to the triple-digit tournament victory club. And Roger Federer, I've been a bit lonely, glad to have the company. Jimmy Connors at Jimmy Connors, March 2, 2019. The rise in bed from Getty Images. The past 2 decades have seen Federer evolve on the court from a Wimbledon boys champion in 1998 to one of the world's highest-paid athletes. In 2018, Forbes magazine listed his annual earnings as $77.2 million, with $65 million coming from endorsements alone. Last year he signed a 10-year deal with Uniqlo that has a total value of an estimated $300 million. The more successful you become, the greater the toll becomes in terms of media attention, maybe winning awards, getting rewarded in your country or city or whatever it may be. You have to deal with all these things, he reflected. Your tennis grows in the process very quickly because you're learning so much about yourself, learning how to play other players, how they're learning to play you. You try to compress it every single time, in every game, every break point, whatever you're facing. Behind Federer's success is his team. Severin Ludi, who is 5 years older than him, has been guiding Federer on the tour since 2007. Furthermore, former world number 3 Ivan Lubitschek took on a coaching role in 2015. Meanwhile, working in the background is somebody that has been with Federer for almost 20 years, fitness trainer Pierre Paganini. I'm sure I took a lot of good and bad decisions along the way. I couldn't have done it without a team, said Federer. My team has been phenomenal throughout. I've been very fortunate. I've said that always, time and time again, from my first coaches all the way to today. I always had the right coaches, always at the right time. The final stretch of an extraordinary career in bed from Getty Images. Regardless of his sporting ability, the one thing he can't escape is getting old. Federer is the 4th oldest player on the ATP Tour to have a ranking. To put this into perspective, Dubai runner-up Tsitsipas was born a month before he made his professional debut. Whilst it has been an extraordinary journey, has Federer ever been tempted to call it quits? I think everybody goes through that. It would be lying if they said, I never doubt it. I think everybody goes through these phases. It's logical. We have too much downtime, too much time on the road, too much rain delays, you name it, that makes you go through with your head sometimes. He explained. Never to the extent where I'm like really contemplating, is it enough? The final chapters in the book of Federer's career are now taking place. Nobody knows when the ending will take place, but if all go to plan it won't be within the next 12 months. The idea was for the people to know that I am coming back next year. That is the plan. I have a deal for next year. He commented about playing in the 2020 Dubai Tennis Championships. I thought about it this week because I know they said they were interested to have me again next year, if it was okay to announce it during the week. I said, absolutely, we can do that. It seems almost impossible that Federer could one day emulate Connors and retire from the sport at the age of 43. Then again, Federer has proven time after time that he is anything but ordinary. Federer's marathon journey in this sport has reached the closing stages, but don't be surprised if he breaks more records before he crosses the finish line. Federer's 100 titles in numbers type of event: Grand Slams, 20 ATP World Tour Finals, 6 ATP Master Series, 1000, 7 ATP International Series Gold, 500 Series. 22 ATP International Series, 250 Series 25 by Surface Hard 69 Grass 18 Clay 11 Carpet 2 Grand Slam titles in detail. Australian Open, 2004, 2006, 2007, 2010, 2017, 2018, French Open, 2009, Wimbledon, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2009, 2012, 2017, US Open, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008.